Hello everyone, it's me again, Tracy Nieuwenheyzen-Petersen. So I know I'm due to be discussing the next chapter, chapter 4, but I thought I'd take a break from the chapter and discuss a little more about me and who I am. So you'll see on my Facebook page, on my blog, on my YouTube channel, I always highlight Tracy, not the social worker. And there's actually a personal experience behind that name that I'd like to share with people, and I think it will touch so many of you out there. And I think before it happened to me, I never really thought of it, and I was also oblivious to this fact. So I just want to connect with some of you out there to show that many of us are going through the same thing. So I am not a extrovert. I am an introvert. I don't socialize a lot. I don't do all of that. And recently, I actually discovered I started rewatching one of my series, and it said there that kids that raise themselves tend to isolate themselves and be on their own when they are older. And I was like, I called my husband. I'm like, listen to this. Do you think this is who I am? He's like, that's so you. So it's not that I'm an introvert either. I can, juggle between it all, but I just prefer to be on my own. Um, then some might ask, how did I get married? Let's just say my husband is a very persuasive person and does not give up easily. But anyway, to the point of what I wanted to share with you today is that my whole life, I had family gatherings. Before I became a social worker, I had met my in laws, which weren't legally my in laws yet, but my husband and I, we were dating for years and cohabitating for years. So each of our families was our families. We had socialized. In our work environments, my husband and I, we worked together at many places. We had a lot of friends that were both of our friends and families or people that we hung out together with. But when I became a social worker, a lot of things happened. Firstly, let me just give out a shout out to all the women out there. Like we, as much as there's this gender or equality and what, I don't want to get into politics, but being in the working environment as a female is tough. For example, when I got my degree, um, my husband and I were not married yet, but in any case, he had not had his degree at the time yet, so I was the first one in our relationship to get my degree. And I thought, a lot of people would be happy about it or positive, but most people would be like, okay, husband, so when are you getting yours? It's almost like, you can't celebrate the female without the husband being celebrated first. So it was one of those. But let's get into my name of all my pages and blogs and things. When I became a social worker, at the beginning, no, I was very serious about my career, but I also took some moments out here and there to socialize, really get to know our families and people that I didn't hang out with for a long time because the last 2 years of my studies were crazy. So I kind of isolated myself from people. So it was like, I was being laid out and I just wanted to have a bit of fun. But I was not ready for what happened. I mean, like in every conversation, it was like I was no longer Tracy. All people could see, I end up asking, like, is there social worker written on my forehead? All people could see was the social worker. They could no longer see me and who I am. Even though I've known these people for years before I became a social worker, they no longer saw me. Like I would literally be sitting in a social setting with friends with a glass of wine and they'll be telling me their problems. They'll be trying to report a child that was abused or things like that, and I was like, how did I lose my identity and take on this identity of only being a social worker was the most shocking thing to me ever. And I don't think it ever changes after that. You don't regain your full identity because still till today people will be like, oh, I'm gonna come visit you, I haven't seen you in a long time. And as soon as you sit down they start talking about their problems, and I'm like, as much as I love being a social worker, I always say as soon as I walk out of that door at work on Friday, I am no longer a social worker. If there's anybody else that feels this way, please reach out to me. You might not necessarily be a social worker. Any career change that you have that also took away your identity, put it in the comments. Subscribe to my page. Let's talk about this because I think we need to create the awareness about this, that your career is only part of your identity, but it's not completely who you are. You are still that person before you got that degree or that job. Like, I always say also being a social worker, it's a calling, it is a part of who I am. A lot of the things that I've dealt with in my life, I dealt with in a way that was in line with the field or with my career, but still there is a distinction between that person with that glass of wine that wants to have fun and that person that is sitting in that office here to help. I don't have a problem guiding people and helping them and listening to them, but what about me? And then there's one thing that a lot of people would always say to me as well. They would say to me, they'll literally just come to me and talk and cry and things, and they'll be like at the end of that conversation, you know what, I always know you will be there to listen when things are not okay. Like, that I might not want you to do anything but just listen. And lately I've asked myself that if I'm always that person to people, or people always see me as that person who's going to listen, who's going to be there to listen when I have that glass of wine in my hand and need to talk myself. um so this is just a bit of thought that I would like to share with people out there and get some feedback on. Hit me up in the comments, subscribe to my page. Let's continue this conversation of our identity and peeling away the layers to ourselves, and um, connecting with each other. Let's do that. Men, women, children, teenagers out there, I'm sure this affects each and every one in a different way. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. I just wanted to share what I experienced. And not too long ago, I was in a setting with other social workers, and we had a discussion on this, and they were like, "Oh my word, I've been in this field so many years, and I'm still going through that." Like, you know, um, people just see us for people for some time, please. There's a wonderful person behind that social worker title. There's another person there that can make jokes, they can party, they can, let things loose, that also has problems. And let's celebrate those people who became, who molded a part of themselves into being a social worker, who molded a part of themselves into being any type of career that they chose. But let's celebrate the person and not just the career. So that's just a bit of thought from me that I wanted to share with you guys today. um, Please hit me up,